The FBI agent stood frozen in the cold November rain, staring at the tiny red dress hanging from a tree branch. The fabric was torn and muddy, the color almost faded, but still bright enough to burn into his mind. Just below it, half buried in the dirt, was a small white shoe, no bigger than the size of his hand. His partner whispered, "Is it hers?" But the agent couldn't speak. He had a daughter the same age, 6. The air was heavy, silent except for the distant sound of sirens and the wind. Then came the radio call that broke him completely. "We found her, but you're not going to want to see this." He dropped to his knees. Rain poured down his face, mixing with tears he didn't realize were there. This wasn't just another case anymore. This was the case, the one that would make even the toughest FBI agents cry. 3 days earlier, the quiet town of Maple Creek, Oregon, looked like something out of a postcard. White fences, happy families, kids riding bikes down the street. Nothing bad ever seemed to happen there, until little Emily Carter, a cheerful 6-year-old who loved red dresses and strawberry ice cream, vanished on her way home from school. It was Friday afternoon, and Emily's mom, Sarah, was waiting on the porch as usual. She remembered the time, 3:07 p.m., because she always checked her watch when she saw her daughter turn the corner. But that day, Emily never appeared. At first, Sarah thought maybe Emily had stopped to pet a neighbor's dog or talk to her friend Lily, but minutes turned into an hour, and the pit in her stomach grew deeper. By 4:15 p.m., she called the police. "My daughter's missing," she said, her voice trembling. Officer Daniels arrived within 10 minutes. He knew the Carters. Everyone in town did. He searched the nearby streets, checked the park, even asked the school if Emily had stayed behind. Nothing. By nightfall, search teams were called in. Flashlights cut through the darkness, and volunteers shouted Emily's name into the trees. By midnight, the FBI joined the search. They had seen dozens of cases like this, missing children that often ended the same tragic way. But something about this one felt different. Agent Jack Nolan, a father of 2, led the team. "We find her before the sun comes up," he said firmly, though inside, he feared the worst. The next morning, a clue surfaced. A woman walking her dog near Willow Creek found a red ribbon tangled in the bushes. It matched the one Emily wore in her hair every day. Sarah broke down when she saw it, clutching it to her chest as if holding her daughter. Jack's team collected it carefully, bagged it, and sent it to the lab. The whole town joined the search that weekend. Helicopters flew overhead. Local news vans parked on every corner. Strangers handed out flyers with Emily's smiling face, her red dress, her curly blonde hair, her bright blue eyes. But by Sunday evening, there was still no sign of her. Then, something strange happened. Around 9:30 p.m., the FBI received an anonymous call from a payphone 2 towns over. A man's voice said just 6 words before hanging up. "Check the old sawmill. She's waiting." Agents raced there immediately. The sawmill had been abandoned for years, left to rot in the woods on the edge of town. When they arrived, the place was silent, only the wind rattling through broken windows. They swept the area, guns drawn, flashlights cutting across the dusty floors. Near the back, one agent noticed muddy footprints, small ones, like a child's, leading toward a locked door. Jack ordered it opened. Inside was a small pink backpack, Emily's name written on the front in marker. Her favorite stuffed bunny was still inside, covered in dirt. Sarah's scream echoed through the building when she saw it. Jack tried to comfort her, but he knew this was bad, really bad. The next morning, Jack and his team combed the woods surrounding the sawmill. They were tired, dirty, and running on coffee and fear. Then one of the agents called out from a distance, "Jack, over here!" That's when they saw it, the red dress hanging from the tree, torn, dirty, but still red. The area was quickly sealed off. Forensics moved in, and Jack stood frozen, staring at the piece of fabric like it held the answers to everything. His phone buzzed. The coroner's team had found a shallow grave just 50 yards away. He ran toward it, heart pounding so hard it felt like it would burst. The smell of wet soil filled the air. When they uncovered what was beneath, even the seasoned agents turned away. The sight was too much, too cruel. Jack covered his mouth, unable to speak. Tears streamed down his face. It wasn't supposed to end like this. He had promised Sarah they'd bring Emily home. As he stood there, rain pouring down, one thought wouldn't leave his mind. Who could do this to a child? Before anyone could answer, one of the tech agents shouted, "We found something else!" He was holding a small, mud-stained object wrapped in plastic. It wasn't a toy. It was a phone, and it was still recording. The entire team froze. Jack's stomach dropped. "Play it," he whispered. And as the video began to play, every agent around the grave fell silent. The sound that came through wasn't static. It was a child's voice, Emily's voice, crying softly and saying just two words over and over, "Please stop." Jack's legs went weak. That was the moment the FBI cried. But just as the recording ended, a man's voice whispered something chilling into the microphone, something that made every agent's blood run cold. "See you soon, Agent Nolan." The forest fell silent again. Jack looked around, his eyes wide with disbelief. Whoever did this wasn't finished. And then, a loud crack echoed through the trees. Someone was watching them. The gunshot echoed through the woods like thunder. Every agent dropped, head low, weapons drawn, eyes scanning the trees. "Sniper! Get down!" Jack shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. The rain poured harder now, blurring everything. Another shot rang out, splintering bark just inches from an agent's head. "Where's it coming from?" one of them yelled. Jack pointed toward a ridge above the creek. "There! Move! Move!" The team split into two groups. One circled left through the trees, while Jack led the other straight up the hill, mud sliding under their boots. His heart pounded, not from fear, but from rage. The man who hurt Emily was out here, watching them, laughing at them. When they reached the ridge, the shots stopped. Silence. Only the sound of dripping water and distant thunder. Then Jack spotted it. A rifle, still warm, lying on a rock. No one around, just empty forest. "He's playing with us," Jack muttered. "He wants to be seen." They bagged the weapon and swept the area. No footprints, no shell casings, nothing. Whoever he was, he knew what he was doing. Back at the command post, drenched and exhausted, Jack studied the video from Emily's phone over and over. Her voice still echoed in his mind. "Please, stop." The video was blurry, but the team managed to enhance the audio. The man's voice at the end was calm, steady, almost mocking. Agent Rivera, the tech specialist, walked in holding a folder. "Sir, you need to see this. We ran the voice through the database." Jack took the folder. The printout showed a name he hadn't seen in years. Raymond Cole. Jack froze. "That can't be right." Rivera nodded. "It is. Voice matches 98%. Cole used to be one of ours. Former FBI field analyst. Disappeared in 2015 after an internal investigation. No trace since." Jack's stomach dropped. Raymond Cole was a ghost. A brilliant mind with a dark side. He'd worked cases involving kidnappings and psychological profiling before he went rogue. If he was behind Emily's death, this wasn't random. It was personal. "Why would he target me?" Jack asked quietly. Rivera hesitated, then opened another file. "You led the case that got him fired. The Henderson kidnapping. He lost everything after that. Maybe he wants revenge." Jack leaned back in his chair, rubbing his eyes. The memory flooded back. Cole had falsified evidence to force a confession. When Jack exposed him, the Bureau let him go quietly to avoid bad press. No one had seen him since, until now. The next morning, Sarah Carter was sitting on her porch, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the empty swing set in her yard. Jack walked up the path, his heart heavy. "Mrs. Carter," he said softly. She looked up, her face pale and tired. "Did you find who did it?" Jack paused. "Not yet, but we're close." Her eyes filled with tears. "Do you have children, Agent Nolan?" He nodded. "Two." Then you know, she whispered. You know what it's like to wake up and realize you'll never hear her laugh again. Jack wanted to say something, anything, but no words came. He handed her a small bag. Inside was Emily's red ribbon. We found this near the creek, he said. Sarah held it tight, sobbing quietly. Jack turned away, his jaw clenched. He made a silent promise. I'll get him, Emily. I swear it. That night, Jack couldn't sleep. He sat in his office, watching the rain streak down the window. Files, photos, and maps covered his desk. Every clue pointed back to Raymond Cole. But there was no sign of him, no address, no phone records, no social media, like he'd disappeared off the face of the earth. Until Rivera burst in, out of breath. Sir, you need to see this. She held up her tablet. We tracked a signal from the phone used to upload Emily's video. It's pinging again, from inside the old sawmill. Jack stood. You're sure? Positive. It just went live 2 minutes ago. Jack grabbed his jacket. Gear up, we're going back. By midnight, the woods were pitch black. The agents moved quietly, flashlights off, guided only by night vision goggles. Jack led the way to the sawmill, every step crunching on wet leaves. When they reached the building, the door was wide open. A faint light flickered inside, the glow of a single lantern. Stack up, Jack whispered. The team lined up and pushed in. The smell of gasoline hit them instantly. Then they saw it. The walls were covered with photographs, pictures of Emily, her school, her mother, and Jack himself. In the center of the room sat a laptop, open and playing a video. Raymond Cole's face filled the screen. He looked older now, beard, sunken eyes, but the same cold smile. Hello, Jack, he said calmly. You took my life from me, so I took yours. Jack clenched his fists. Where are you, Cole? Cole laughed softly. I'm closer than you think. Suddenly, the laptop beeped. Rivera's eyes widened. Sir, that's a detonator! Everybody out, now! Jack shouted. They bolted for the door just as the explosion tore through the sawmill, sending fire and debris into the air. The blast threw Jack to the ground, his ears ringing. He crawled through the mud, coughing, his vision blurry. Rivera! Daniels! He shouted. No answer. Smoke filled the sky, the flames lighting up the night. Then, through the smoke, he saw movement. A shadow standing at the edge of the trees. A tall man in a black coat, watching. Cole. Jack stumbled to his feet, raising his gun. Freeze! But before he could fire, the man smiled and stepped back into the darkness. Gone. Jack stood there, breathing hard, the fire reflecting in his eyes. Cole had just declared war. As firefighters rushed in and sirens wailed in the distance, Jack looked back at the burning sawmill and noticed something glinting in the ashes. He bent down and picked it up. It was a small silver bracelet engraved with a name, Emily. But inside, he scratched into the metal with something else, a message. Round 2 begins soon. Jack's hands shook as he read it. Cole wasn't finished. He was just getting started. The morning after the explosion, Maple Creek was silent. Smoke still drifted above the burnt sawmill, and ash covered the ground like snow. Agent Jack Nolan hadn't slept in 2 days. He stood by his car, staring at the silver bracelet found in the ruins. Emily's name engraved on one side and a chilling message on the other. Round 2 begins soon. He gripped it tight. Not if I can stop it, he whispered. By noon, the Bureau was in chaos. Every agent worked overtime. Satellite images, phone logs, surveillance data, all being combed for clues. Then an alert came through, an email from someone calling himself the Red Man. Subject, the second act. Message, you cried once. You'll cry again. A little girl in blue waits for her turn. PM. Maple Creek Elementary. Don't be late. Jack froze. The whole command room went silent. He looked at the clock. 2:46 p.m. Within minutes, the school was surrounded by police and FBI units. Parents screamed from behind barricades. Every classroom was checked, every hallway cleared. But when the clock hit 4 o'clock, nothing happened. Just silence. Then, Jack's phone buzzed. It was a video link. He opened it, and his blood ran cold. A little girl, maybe 7, sat in a dark room wearing a blue dress. She was crying softly. Behind the camera, a man's voice, distorted but calm, spoke. "Hello again, Jack. You found the red one too late. Let's see how fast you move this time." Then the screen went black. Jack turned to his team. "Trace it, now." The text worked fast. Signals bouncing through 3 servers, but wait, we've got a location. River Docks, Warehouse District. Jack grabbed his weapon. "Move out!" The docks were quiet and cold. The setting sun painted the sky orange, the water rippling with light. Jack's team split into 2 groups, approaching the warehouses with caution. Inside Warehouse 12, a dim light flickered. Jack raised his flashlight and froze. There she was, the girl in the blue dress, tied to a chair, shivering, alive. Jack rushed to her. "It's okay, sweetheart. You're safe now." Rivera cut the ropes, whispering, "We've got her." But before they could leave, the girl looked up and said, trembling, "He told me you'd come." Jack frowned. "What do you mean?" She hesitated. He said, "You'd bring the others." Jack's eyes widened. "Everyone out!" But it was too late. A hidden device beneath the floor clicked, and the blast tore through the warehouse. When Jack opened his eyes, he was lying in the dirt outside, ears ringing, the air filled with smoke and fire. The girl was safe, protected by Rivera's quick thinking, but half the building was gone. Rivera staggered to her feet. "Sir, look!" On the ground beside the wreckage was a phone. Its screen was cracked, but a new message glowed across it. "Round 3 begins at home." Jack's heart stopped. He pulled out his own phone and called his wife. No answer. He tried again. Nothing. "Rivera, get local PD to my house, now!" he shouted, running to his car. The drive felt endless. Sirens wailed behind him, but Jack didn't slow down. Every red light was a blur. He reached his street just as police cars pulled up. His house door was wide open. He ran inside, shouting, "Anna! Ben! Lucy!" Then, a voice from the hallway. "Jack!" He turned, gun drawn. Raymond Cole stood there, calm, smiling, wearing a black coat and gloves. "You ruined my life," Cole said quietly. "I just wanted you to feel it too." Jack stepped closer. "Where are they?" Cole tilted his head. "Safe, for now." Jack's hand shook on the trigger. "It's over, Cole." Cole smiled sadly. "No, Jack, it's never over." Suddenly, a door creaked behind Jack. He turned for just a second, and when he looked back, Cole was gone. The front door swung open, the night wind rushing in. "Clear the house!" Jack ordered. Agents stormed in behind him. Minutes later, a shout came from upstairs. "We've got them! They're safe!" Jack ran up and saw his wife and kids huddled in the corner, crying but unharmed. He dropped to his knees and hugged them tight. Tears fell freely down his face. For the first time in days, he let himself breathe. Outside, paramedics treated Rivera and the rescued girl. Jack stood by the ambulance, watching as the little girl smiled weakly and whispered, "Thank you." He smiled back. "You're welcome, kiddo." Then Rivera handed him something wrapped in plastic, a small piece of paper found inside Jack's mailbox. The handwriting was neat, deliberate. "You saved them this time. But remember, the game never ends." Jack stared at it for a long moment. Then he looked up at the dark sky and whispered, "It ends when I find you." He turned, walking toward the flashing lights and the cold night wind. Somewhere out there, Raymond Cole was watching. But Jack Nolan was ready. This was no longer about a case. It was personal. And that was the case that made the FBI cry. The little girl in the red dress. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more true crime stories that will keep you up at night. Hit the like button, Share this video with someone who loves mystery stories and drop a comment below. Do you think Agent Jack will ever catch Raymond Cole? Because the hunt might not be over yet.